The Board of Governors Award recognizes achievements by individuals, organizations, or companies in community service or other worthwhile endeavors within the National Capital Chesapeake Bay's region. The award is one of the most prestigious and cherished in our Academy. It requires a nearly unanimous vote by our board before a nominee receives this honor. Please welcome the presenter for tonight's award.
I want to thank you for this note. I wanted to, just for a moment, appreciate this. In case my name doesn't get called tonight, I can say I did take the stage and hold an Emmy in my hand, even if it's not mine. So the Board of Governors Award historically is presented for outstanding achievement and unique accomplishment of duration and durability. And Barbara Ciara's 50-year career is exemplified in that. Passionate journalist, competitor in spirit, and I say that, not just as she's a former colleague of mine, a former co-anchor. I was one of her TV husbands. She would probably say I was her favorite. But as also as a competitor, we didn't always work side by side, and it was with dread when I would run into Barbara out into the field. She had that look that said, I'm going to beat you, and I will beat you handily. She was not an anchor tied to the anchor desk. Community service is in her DNA, locally, regionally, on the national level, former president of NABJ. I could go on and sing her praises, but I hope this story gives just a snapshot of who Barbara is.
To fully tell the story of Barbara Ciara, the journalist, you have to look at the stories she's told over her more than 40 years on Hampton Roads television.
She not only was on TV every night, but she literally was in the community.
Just ask her friends.
She's a true journalist. She's an absolute true journalist.
And former colleagues.
I'm not afraid of any reporter on planet Earth, but if I ever had to go up against Barbara Ciara, I'd be nervous.
And they'll tell you Barbara is a force.
I tried to be the first in line for everything.
When we sat down to talk, Barbara recalled standing up to one of her bosses early on in her career.
I'd gotten a scoop about a judge who had been arrested for trying to solicit a prostitute, and he did not believe in my sources, and the newspaper beat us the next morning, and I stood on my hind legs and said, I hope you don't miss another opportunity to get a scoop again.
That drive is part of what makes Barbara so special. She's a trusted voice behind the anchor desk, but she may be at her best when she tells your stories. Reporting from down the street.
There were several visits to Haiti.
And all around the world.
As Norfolk-based Marines conduct security patrol in Port-au-Prince, their focus is the mission, but they find the poverty impossible to ignore.
When the military hit the beaches of Haiti following an uprising, Barbara traveled there too, bringing the stories of locally based troops and their mission of mercy home.
Their hands are reaching out for more than just a toy. They're reaching out for affection. They're reaching out for something they can call their own.
We met a little boy who supported his family by having a shoe shine kit. And he would offer to shine shoes. And we saw him one day and he was very happy and he was doing his thing. And the next time we saw him, he was bloodied and beaten because someone stole his little shoe shine kit. And that is when I just kind of felt like someone had pulled the earth from beneath me, because I felt like so many of us feel like we're having a bad day. We don't understand our privilege.
If a major story with ties to Tidewater broke anywhere, it's a good bet Barbara was there too. From Saudi Arabia and Bahrain during the first Iraq War in 1990 to perhaps one of the biggest stories of her career about a decade later, in the aftermath of the September 11th attacks. Barbara once again traveled with locally based sailors, reporting on the U.S. air assault against the Taliban in Afghanistan.
We also had the privilege of bringing a flag that had been in New York to the crew, and the tears and the tears they shed, knowing that that was their mission, but that flag had been so close to ground zero, is something I don't think I'll ever forget.
Yes, Barbara has traveled the world, interviewed presidents even, but she is most proud of her work that gave a voice to the voiceless in Hampton Roads.
This was the beginning of the end for Troy Webb. Homecoming Day, the start of a new life with family and friends after ending nearly a decade of life behind bars for a crime he did not commit.
Barbara was awarded the Capital Regional Emmy for her series of reports called Guilty Till Proven Innocent. She also spent time in some of Norfolk's most crime-plagued communities, giving terrified children a voice in her Emmy-nominated Letters from the Hood stories.
Playtime is a race against the clock in the hood. With darkness comes danger.
Barbara was awarded an Emmy for her documentary on the New Canaan experiment, on the 50th anniversary of a revolutionary teaching experiment that brought races together in the classroom at a time when that was not the norm. Whether it's breaking news, award-winning documentaries, or a big story happening around the globe, Barbara has always been there. And Hampton Roads is oh so fortunate to have been along for the ride.
I think that ascending to the anchor desk maybe gives you the opportunity to cover the big story, and that's the way I always looked at it.
Our 2025 Board of Governors recipient, Barbara Ciara of WTKR News 3.
Thank you. Wow. You know how to make a girl run her makeup here. I'm so grateful for that love you're showing me tonight, and I hope I can get through this because I wasn't quite expecting to get emotional. I just want to take a moment to take all this in. Take all this in. Yeah. You know, over the years, I've sat in the seat here with a nomination or an Emmy, but it was always the work that so many of us celebrated, right? It was being able to tell those stories and make a difference. And I'm just so, so grateful. I made a couple of notes so that I wouldn't be a producer's nightmare tonight. So, first, I really want to, my heart is filled with such gratitude tonight, and I just have to share that with you. So often in this business, we can get a little jaded, and we can not appreciate those moments of joy. I'm feeling so much joy tonight. I want to take the moment to, as I'm closing out 50 years of being a journalist, to thank the Board of Governors for doing me this great honor. You know, stepping away from journalism was never anything I thought would happen. I mean, go back to the time when you were first starting out. You see the beginning, you don't see the sunset. And it has been an incredible ride. I want to thank Jason, our past president of the CapitalEmmys, for nominating me. And when I called him on the phone, I said, "Why did you do this?" The why, of course, we want to know the why. He nearly brought me to tears talking about how he observed my career. So often we don't take the time to tell our colleagues how much they mean to us or the example that they're setting. And one of those moments happened tonight when a young woman who I really adore, I met her when she was 20 years old. And she has come to me every year at the Emmys to tell me how she marks her progress and how she's climbing the ladder in this business. And she pours into my cup by telling me how meaningful it was for me to take the time with her when she was first starting out. Well, Julie Newman is now a general manager. Stand up, I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. I want to tell you that it's difficult to summarize a life well lived in a thing that you love so much. You already heard about many of the big major stories that I covered. I'm not going to go over any of that. But for the young people and people who are mid-career, I do want to share a little something that I think is worthwhile. When I was in a college classroom, especially since journalism is under fire. When I was in a college classroom, I had a professor say to me that there are 3 things that should be the standard for any story that you turn. Is it true? Is it fair? Is it necessary? Now, there have been times where some stories didn't meet that bar and didn't make air, but truthfully, there have been some stories that did not make the bar and made air. All of you who have a mic are stewards of journalism, and we are under attack, and our credibility is all we have. We must continue to speak truth to power despite what's happening in our world. There are forces who are attempting to diminish us. We can't let that happen. I know you won't let that happen. But on a personal note, I want to tell you that balance means everything. When I was coming up in my career in the 70s, and you're a woman of color, you're expected to not have a sick day, don't talk to me about your kids, you just be ready to answer the call. And doing that can cost you if you don't find a life balance. In the 80s, I thought I had it all. I had the perfect house, the perfect husband, the perfect dog, the perfect cat. By the time the 90s rolled around, I still had a cat. Well, I managed to find my balance. It's all good now. But I'm telling you, in your career, bring your passion. Please continue to speak truth to power. Be good to yourself. And make sure you tell people who mean something to you what they mean. I love this moment. I'm going to take another minute to look at you and say thank you so much. It's been a privilege and an honor to work with you all. Good night.
Yeah, this way.